You are now listening to the smooth sounds of Love Atiya. Ciao, beautiful souls. My name's Atiya, and I am your future bestie in your head. I am a sex-positive animal activist. I grew up in Queens, New York, and was homeschooled/unschooled for about 12 years. I was a virgin until I was 24 and attempted to have a hoe phase for 2 years, which eventually led me to being accidentally/intentionally celibate. And here we are today. My past left me with a lot of wild stories, a lot of lessons, and a hell of a lot of trauma. Thank God for my wicked sense of humor, because God only knows I would have perished by now. With that being said, this is your gentle reminder that the Love Atiya experience was created as a safe space for me to reflect and share the lessons that I've learned from past traumas. Shit gets real on this podcast, and topics such as domestic violence, sexual assault, substance abuse, depression, anxiety, and suicide may be referenced. If you are working through feeling triggered by certain topics, this may not be the show for you right now, and that's okay. Healing takes time and isn't linear. I'll be here when you're ready. Now, without further ado, the Love Atiya experience is an experience. So get ready for laughs, crazy story times, and life-changing pleasure tips here on the Love Atiya Experience podcast. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Love Atiya Experience. I am here with the absolutely lovely, beautiful soul, Kiana from Souley Gazing. Welcome, Kiana.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. That's such an honor, such a privilege. And for anyone watching, if you're like, these two look like each other, like what the fuck? Yes, I realized that. I was getting on Love about this before the call, like, yo, like stop looking like me. It's okay. Like
Kiana.
no, but thank you for having me. It's so lovely to be here.
Of course, thank you so much. I've been literally looking forward to this episode since we were on that Zoom call and we're like, we have to talk on the podcast. Like, I've been looking for this since then. That was like last year or this year, like February, March, maybe ish.
I think, yeah, like around there. I really feel like springtime.
Yeah, absolutely. And we met at the sex tech school, which I think is super amazing. So I love that you are in a sex positive space. But please tell me more about yourself. Tell the audience more about yourself, about Souley Gazing, and then we'll dive into the icebreakers, and then we'll dive even deeper into what Souley Gazing is all about.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Souley Gazing is a content marketing agency. We specialize in helping BIPOC content creators and sexual wellness professionals in the space. And yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I started Souley Gazing out of just a passion for me always wanting to be in the sex space, but didn't know where to show up. And honestly, I had to get older and find that right alignment. And the right alignment is marketing. So that's where we're at right now.
I love it. I love it. I'm so
Yes.
excited. Oh, I'm just
Yes.
happy that Souley Gazing exists. First of all, as like a Black creator, I'm like, thank you for this space. I really appreciate you. Um,
Thank you. Yeah. Thank
yeah.
you. I appreciate you. And honestly, I really appreciate everyone's love and support so far, and even people's feedback. It's been amazing and very uplifting, especially at the times that there might be a shift in the sex education space. So all of the compliments, well, if you're in the US, I'm sorry, someone's in the utopia world of Mexico. If you're in the US, things might shift and change. So all of the support and just community like gatherings and just even donating is always wonderful. So I love you've been very supportive and I always appreciate it.
You make it very easy, believe me, truly.
Thank you.
I'm about to pour my heart and gush about Souley Gazing, but before I do that, I do want to dive into some icebreakers and
Yes.
see where your mind is at with a couple of things. And I also want to answer one of these icebreakers because I switch it up every time that I ask it, and I think that I've like figured it out this time, even though I'm probably gonna change it next time anyway. But the first question is, what is your favorite kind of sex toy?
My favorite kind of sex toy, that's a really good question. So I am loyal. I'm actually very conservative now that I'm thinking about it. I've been fucking around with this same sex toy since I was 19 years old, and it is run down, and it is falling apart, but I don't care. I just can't. It's not like how it used to be. Nowadays, motherfuckers got like I don't know, like it's doing wild shit, like so many different functions. It can pay your bills. It can test out your heart rate and tell your cholesterol. It's like going crazy. I'm like, I don't need all of that. I just need it to vibrate. And I'm a very simple, minimalistic type of person. I
Okay.
just enjoy wands. I don't do
Oh,
anything internally. I'm more of an external type of person, just stimulate. So I just have the classic wand. It's from Cal Exotics.
okay.
And I think it is called literally something wand. I don't know. It's something wand. It comes with 3 attachments. It's
Oh.
light purple, 10 vibrating functions, waterproof. I am not letting go. Like it looks horrible. Like, but fuck it. I'm gonna keep using it. Like I don't care.
Same, that one sex toy that I got when I was 16 from my mom, I still have that. Like literally, it does not look in its best shape. I agree. So time tatters things, and that's okay. But
It's
I
okay.
wanted to ask for the attachments. Are those the ones that like you have the one that looks like a like COVID? It's like a circle, and then it has a little like spike to
Did you
it.
say it looked like COVID? What the fuck does COVID look like?
COVID emoji. It's like a blob, and then it's like spike, spike, spike. If you're looking on YouTube, like look, it's like y'all know what I'm talking about.
That's not a code. That's just an. I don't even know what that's called, but I'm no, that's not what I got. I don't have a COVID shaped toy. It's actually really cute. It's like so it's literally like a wand. So you know like how like if you're like a not princess, but like if you have a wand, like a magic wand, it has a little cute little it's like round and it has little nugs around it, little nubs.
Oh, the little
You
nubs.
Yeah, it has little nubs around it, and then the other part is like one that like is like a crescent shape, and it
Oh,
has more nugs on the inside, and the other one is shaped like a dolphin. I don't
oh.
know what do you do with that, but I never got that advanced into that. But yeah, I just use the same attachment piece, and it's been my baby for years, and I'm just committed. I'm just too committed. I don't know. I'm very intimidated by all the toys that are out now. So maybe you can enlighten me and help me out shop for a new one.
Absolutely. I understand. I think that it's great to have like a classic toy. And I think it's really fun and cool to tamper with like some of the newer technology. Like I know Lilo, they have freaking the wave technology where things like move like fingers and violin bows and
Yeah, it's the
yes.
Xanax for your
Yeah.
coochie. It helps you. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
of that. Like
Yeah.
wave technology. It's gonna tell me I'm gonna get pregnant in 2 weeks. Like I don't need that
If,
though.
if I have a toy that tells me that I'm gonna throw it into the ocean, well, not into the ocean because that's littering, but I'm gonna throw it in the trash. If it tells me I'm gonna get pregnant at any point, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
My next question for you is this is the one that I would like to answer that I think I can have like a switch up on from my last answer. So,
Yes.
what is your dirtiest fantasy? No judgment.
My dirtiest fantasy. I'm so vanilla. I'm
Okay.
not even that. I'm like, honestly, okay, I was talking to somebody the other day about this. I don't know if it's like an age thing or since I've consumed so much and seen so many things that I'm just like, I want to get back to the basics. I'm definitely back in my basics era where, and even then, like the freakiest or nastiest thing, it's really not, it's more like in the details. Like it's
Okay.
all in the details, like dressing up, just old-fashioned schoolgirl outfit, just taking it back to like just the classics.
Yep.
I don't really get into the things of the things like that.
Absolutely.
At least in my mind, I don't. And it's so funny because you think in your mind you can go anywhere, right? But I feel like I went everywhere that I could in my mind. So
Mm.
now I'm just like, let's just get back to just dry humping, bitch. Like,
Oh God.
or eye contact or everything
Right.
else that is. And I'm not saying that when people think, of their wildest desires, it has anything to do with penetration. But sometimes people automatically go there. They go to penetration, and that's fine. But
Mhm.
I know for me personally, I just think about everything else but penetration.
Absolutely.
And so it's like now it's like back to basics. Like, can we just like cosplay? Can we have sex in public? Like do like some shit like that.
Yes.
So that's where I'm at.
I love that. I bring vanilla back. Like, I love that shit. I feel like sometimes people try to be so performative and it doesn't even feel, you're not even like feeling it because you're so focused on like the move or the action or the how dirty can we make it. And it's like you said, eye gazing, breath work, like all of that can be super, super sensual and like even more in depth than say like you said, penetration. I mean, like, I don't know, even for me, I don't like back shots. I don't like doggy style. I don't like anything like that. Missionary is my fave because I can like look,
Yeah, she's like, and first off, I got a cute face. So what you ain't gonna do is just give me back shots and think you're gonna just not look at me.
you're like, what the fuck are you doing? So yeah, and I'm also, like I said, I'm just not a penetration girly either. And I've tried so hard. I don't want to say so hard, but I'm like trying to find solo ways to enjoy it. And like that's it. Like I'm back with my yeah. But my dirtiest fantasy, ironically, is with penetration, but it's not me being penetrated, it's me penetrating. So you're not okay. Originally, I had the dirtiest fantasy of having what was it, a foursome or a fivesome with Kalani, Megan Thee Stallion, Victoria Monet, and Tiana Taylor.
See, I didn't know you were dropping names. I will drop a name after that, but I'm gonna let you continue.
Oh, we dropped names on here. Well, like celebrity names.
Celebrity, yeah. Like, well, no, I'm meeting my celebrity. Okay. I'm meeting them. Okay. That's what I wish for myself.
And so it shall be. You're manifesting it. So it's already a thing. Congratulations in advance. I can't wait to hear about it. Yeah. Mine is going to be pegging Tyler, the Creator.
Oh, that's easy.
Like, ain't that doable?
Easy. He's gonna call you. He goes, yeah, that's easy.
Send it to him. Like somebody, because I feel like I would be his type. Like I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
You will. Oh, absolutely. He would adore you. Like, and he's into that. He loves that.
I can't wait. Sorry, I just had like a vision. But also, I would just like to include that Megan Thee Stallion would be there sucking on my right titty.
As you should, because you need that assistance in that support system.
You know what I'm
because
saying?
That's rigorous work that you're doing.
It's a lot.
Have you ever pegged anyone before? Or been on a top situation? That is rigorous fucking work.
I believe it. I believe it.
You have to practice.
I know. I was like, I wonder if I'm like too, like, that's why I've been like a pillow princess. Like, I wonder.
No. See, how is this going to work? Now we're backpedaling and we're pussy popping. This is counterproductive. If we're going to make this happen for you, you need to start practicing and getting right.
Oh, but my stamina, like, that's a lot. Like, what
drink some green juice. Eat some fruit. I tell people all the time, and this is like totally off, but I am a strong advocate for bringing snacks into the bedroom because your sugar will fuck around and get low. At least with my old ass, my sugar get low. I'm bringing fruits. I'm not saying bringing some hot pepper chips or nothing, but bring in some type of like fruits and stuff, peanuts and stuff, just to get your sugar up because it's intense work.
I think that's a great tip. Like, I don't think have I even had water in the bedroom?
You need to. Because you're a pillow princess, you're privileged. And you want to peg somebody.
You got it.
Kind of practice. So my daddy, he is my daddy.
Okay.
If he ever sees this, please just know that I see you as a person, and I'm talking to him. Yeah. I see you as a person, I really do. And no disrespect. If you have a girlfriend or a wife at the time, no disrespect to her. If you want me to do her, I'll do her too. If it evens out the playing field, no disrespect. This is all class. I am demure and I am mindful. I promise you. But I will say, you got me through a lot of hard times. And this daddy and this man of my dreams is Marshawn Lynch.
Oh. Okay. Correct me. He's a football player?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm getting sweaty in my chest. I'm getting sweaty in my chest. That man lives. Oh, yes. Let me drink some water with my thirsty ass. Let me drink some fucking water. I love that man. And you know what? I'm so sick of you bitches. Whenever I like somebody, everybody and their mom was like, oh, I like him too.
Yeah.
You don't know about him. Leave him alone. You didn't know about him until I brought him up. It's that copycat shit that I be talking about. Like, leave
No,
my man alone. Like,
you are the influence. You have to just live with that. You know what I'm saying? Like either like accept it, know that you will be influential, or just like hold it in. But I love the Kiana that speaks about it and people just bite off of you. That's the Kiana that I love. So
but that's my daddy. That's like my anything that I'm thinking about nasty or wild, he's involved because he's my daddy. He's like my we're thinking about, marriage, but we're not there yet. So we're gonna keep working it out a little bit.
I
So
love it. Just keep me posted. Like invite me to if you do a wedding, like invite me to I'm sure we'd be big. Like I think he has like big bucks, you know what I'm saying? So and you know, like it's gonna just be a power couple. Also, if it's who I remember in my head, then I think that y'all would legit be a cute couple. Like if it's who I think it is. I shall Google him
it
after.
is. He's the one with the locks.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Yes.
Oh, you think we're gonna shoot couple? Period. Because that's my nigga. Period. Well, that's my man. That's why I'm like, I want these hoes to stop jocking my style and taking
Yeah.
my man. Like, he's my man. Leave him alone. Like, that's me.
Protect that relationship at all costs. You deserve to. Like without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I wonder, okay, I have an answer in my head of what I think that you might say if it goes according to what we were just talking about, but I could be wrong. For the next question, it's what's your favorite kind of erotica? Like books, porn, audio porn, or anything in addition to that?
Black. I just keep it black, baby. I don't really be, as long as it's a black couple,
Okay.
quiet as is kept, I really don't even watch couples like that. Like I have to be in a certain mood to even watch couples. And it could be a queer couple, it could be a cisgender couple. Um, I watch a lot of solos. I love watching men masturbate. I love male solos because it's just better. It's just better because I feel like when guys are if and this is like in a head no, it's not even in hetero. Even sometimes when I'm watching queer porn, a lot of the guys are on top and they're doing a lot of the giving. It feels almost very performative and they don't moan.
Yeah. Oh,
Not all the time.
for the moan.
They don't moan. Like, and it's so annoying. At least when I'm watching a male solo, I at least would hear a little moaning. If he's not moaning, I'm gonna be pissed off, but I'm still gonna watch because I'm
Yeah.
nosy. But yeah, just like a lot of male solos is honestly what I watch. Like I'm very simple at this point in my life. And you have to be vocal for sure.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I love all of that. I think I'm the same way, but I think I'm more so female solo. And then within but sometimes I'll do an occasional male razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily care about the sexual orientation. Actually, no. I think I care more for when gay men are doing solos versus hetero men.
Really?
No,
Explain that to me.
oh my God, I don't know. Like some of the men, if they're too like mask presenting and they're like hetero, like if they're too like like masculine, like and it's like like
I don't care, baby. If you're mass, if you're a little twink, I love it all. I'm here. As long as there's a penis in your hand, I'm
yeah.
here for it.
I love it. I love it so much. But I definitely agree about the lack of sound. I mean, I need sound. Like I don't know what the silence. What are we doing? That's not
Right.
it. Okay, my last icebreaker question is: do you have any kinks, and if so, what's your favorite one? Do you got some kinks? Kinks, kinks. This is a hard one to answer, honestly.
I do. I do have a kinks. There's two that so one it's kind of there, but it's not all the way there. It's not like my top kink, but I like small penises.
That's a kink. That's a kink.
I don't think that's a kink, honestly. I think that's a preference.
Oh, because we can. I mean, like, shit. What?
I mean,
Like,
it could, and I mean, I don't want to make someone's autonomy a kink, but that's just kind of where I'm at.
yeah.
And glasses. I do have a thing for glasses.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't know what it is. Like it literally is like, for example, if I'm on a dating app, it completely changed the trajectory of how I'm looking at a person. If I'm looking at somebody with some glasses, I'm like, oh, they look good than a motherfucker. And then like I scroll down and they have it without the glasses, and I'll be like, And so every time I'm looking at somebody with glasses, I have to remind myself, is it the glasses or do you genuinely like how they look
Yeah.
stupid? And then I'm like, oh no, I like how they look with the glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of like a thing.
Wow.
It's hot. It's really, really hot. And there's probably more kinks that have, I just can't think of the top of my head right now, but that's the one that stands out right now.
Love that. It's so funny because I imagine like you being in the bedroom with somebody and then like they're like, okay, and then like take off their glasses and you're like, no, put them shits back on.
No, put the holes back on. You need to see. You need to see what you're doing. The fuck? Put the prescriptions back on. Put the
Yes,
readers back on.
yes. See you in all of your glory, please. Okay, I love it. I definitely need to look up like what the definition of a kink is. Cause like I feel like we should be able to make up our own kinks. And I also wonder how many kinks there are like in the universe, like in the world.
I
So
mean, I know kinks are like more like the best way to put it is like it's kind of like an accessory, right? It's you can go without it, but you know, if you want to get your rocks off and you really want to get going, it's good to have it just in case, just to spice it up. I know fetish is like you have to have that. Like I know for a fact like sex toys is my fetish because I have to have a toy near. Not saying I don't like you or but having that toy is that comfort and I know will get me right. So I know what fetishes you always have to have. Like it's something you have to have.
oh, I never even thought about the difference between fetish and kink. That makes a lot of freaking sense. And I also love
Mhm.
that you have to have a toy in the bedroom. Like I love that you accept that as your like reality. And I feel like for whatever reason I have not accepted that. And it's like I know, you know that it's I know it's a teammate. I know it's nothing to like it's nothing to make anybody else, like you said, feel bad. Like it's literally it's an accessory. But I need to like dive deeper into why I deprive myself like of these moments. And I guess you know what the problem is. One time I did try to like incorporate a toy with somebody, and it was my
Mhm.
favorite toy. And then they gave me the ick, so then that toy gave me the ick, and I felt like that toy had their juju on it. But that's what I get for being with somebody who gave me the ick. So if I'm just with partners that I actually like, then I don't have to.
First off, for a person and another adult to look at you sideways that you're bringing a sex toy into you, that don't sound fun to me.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound no near fun. I maybe it's the sag in me, but I like to have fun. And so you're not gonna. I'm grown. We're gonna have a toy in this bitch, you know. And I might not even. That's a gag too. Like I might not even use it. It's
wow,
just I need to have it right there.
I
It's
love that.
just the fuck. Like
Yeah.
we have with the snacks, sex toy and snacks,
Okay, I feel like we need another S, like sex toys, snacks, and I always thought the word consent. So
sensuality,
sensuality,
sensuality.
sensuality, snacks, sex toys, and sensuality. Bring that shit to the bedroom. You will orgasm back to back to back to back to back. I love that. I love that.
Period.
The three S's of solely gazing.
Think. There we go. Period.
Or copyright, whatever you're supposed to do.
Right.
Okay. So now it's time to dive into the questions. Speaking of solely
Mhm.
gazing, I would just like to say, like I said, that I genuinely appreciate you for creating this platform, for this company, for this brand, for everything that it is. Your branding is phenomenal. It's super
Thank you.
warm and just like something that I just know that I want to participate in. You could have said, yeah, Solely Gazing is a pen company. I would have been like, I want parts now because just the energy that you brought to it. So, what was your inspiration behind Solely Gazing? Like, what was that aha moment where you were like, I know you said you knew that marketing was a place where we needed help, but what was that like bling, light bulb moment for you?
Um, well, what triggered it is I kept fucking getting laid off from the vanilla conventional world. So I was able and I was privileged to actually sit down and think of where to go next. And while I was sitting thinking about it, I was like, I was reflecting back on when I was a kid and how I wanted to be a sex phone operator. And the simple fact that you can't say that in elementary school, bitch. You just can't. So it stayed in the back of my mind.
Uh-huh.
And it just stayed there. And then as I got older, like, you know, my 20s, I'm like, well, no, maybe sex work is really like dirty and there's a lot of perverts and, you know, a lot of those stigma ignorant thoughts. And so that also throughout my 20s prevented me from not even wanting to go there. And essentially solely gazing, not solely gazing itself, but just the idea of being in the sex space. This was something that I wanted to do in like in my late 40s or as a retirement initiative. And then so I'm like, well, Kiana, you're healing and you want to fulfill your inner child. So let's go back to what you wanted to do when you were a kid. Did you want to be a sex phone operator? And then I'm like, you still can do that. I looked into it, but I'm like, it doesn't resonate with me anymore. However, being in the sex space, however I want to show up, does still resonate. And essentially, I just start educating myself, joining Facebook groups, going to spaces like Sex Tech School, networking, talking to people, and realizing actually this is like the best space for me. And it really was just it just the aha moment was a reflective moment of basically healing my inner child and fulfilling what I wanted to do when I was a kid. It might not be exactly a sex phone operator, but I knew I wanted to be in sex, and I was like, I still love marketing, so that's where it came to be. And I'm like, all right, bet let's go, let's do it.
I love, love, love that so, so much. What is your like ideal goal for solely gazing? Like, what would be that marker that I'd be like, wow, I feel like I'm really like, I've made my mark or I'm making my mark or whatever the case may be. Like, what's the goal?
I mean, so far it's already low key happening.
What's that?
And I'm not, my goal was never, I will say this, and because I think this, it will tie into, this will go into a whole nother rant and a whole nother different rabbit hole. But I want to say this, as an entrepreneur, my goal was to never to think or never have the goal to feel that I'm going to have enough money to live off on doing
Mm,
solely gazing.
mm,
That sentence is, I butchered the sentence, but that was never the goal. The goal was never to have living expense off my agency.
yeah.
Because honestly, like this is like my second time launching an agency. So I guess I already have that reality that business is business and your business has like fucking 85 to 95% of failing.
Mm,
So I already knew off rip that I probably won't make a livable wage doing this agency. So that's never been my goal. So I want that to be out there because when people talk about entrepreneurship and or they're talking about their startup, people instantly are going to go, "Oh, I want to live off, what I'm doing." I don't expect to live off this.
wow.
If I do, fabulous. But that was never my primary goal. My primary goal was to show up in this space
Mm,
because our our existence is so needed and is so important for this space because time and time again, Black and brown people, we already get ignored about everything else. But
yes.
what you're not going to do and what you ain't going to do is ignore me when it comes to my desires or fuck up my opportunity to monetize or to show up in a space where it's so intimate and it's so personal and nobody can't speak to it like me and you can. You
Mm-hmm.
know? So,
Absolutely.
and I really don't want a white woman telling me how I can pleasure myself or
Yep.
what I desire.
Yep.
I don't like that.
Yep.
That's like fucking, like those fucking holistic motherfuckers, those fucking just those woo-woo motherfuckers. If you're like a spiritual girl and you got the head wrap in the dreads, but you're white, I'm not doing it. I don't take you seriously and I don't trust you. No disrespect, I just don't. Because when I think about spirituality, when I think about connection to the earth, naturalness, spirituality, they look like this. They
Yes.
have deep skin.
Yes. A
They're
thousand.
rooted people. They're not transparent, translucent. I
And
just
it's
I don't
and the
think so.
sun doesn't kill them. Like the sun, if the sun is killing you, and like if the sun is actively trying to make you perish, like maybe the earth wasn't necessarily the place you were supposed to be. Like if the elements are all working against you, I don't know. Like,
I don't know about that. So that's just yeah. So I'm just like that's my goal is to show up and to show out essentially. Um and yeah, I'm here, and I do want to make money. Trust
yeah,
me, I'm very broke.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
damn near poor,
relatable.
but yeah, but I do have a roof of my head. I do have a very supportive family. Um, that's like my family member, my mom, she's my angel investor. So yeah, like I have that support. And it really, the goal is to continue to be validated in my mission and in my alignment. That's the goal. I hope that answers your question.
A trillion billion percent. I actually feel like that's probably the best answer that anyone could have given to me. It's just so aligned because I was literally walking through the garage and I was like earlier today, and I was just thinking about like all the different kinds of rich people that I feel like I've come across in like weird spaces, right? Like people trying to buy houses or people trying to like at these freaking tech conferences and stuff. And like they just had this aura about them. And I was thinking, like, damn, it doesn't matter what race they are. Once they come into money, there's this like fucked up ass energy around rich people. And then if I were to become rich, then I'm gonna be in those same circles with these fucked up ass rich people. And it's like I don't want to be rich. And that was like fucking huge for me, Kiana. I literally spent a majority of my life trying to be a billionaire. And this man was like, well, there's no ethical billionaires. So I was like, all right, bitch, I'll be a millionaire then, a multimillionaire. But now I'm like, shit, how old am I? 30? I don't know how many years I got left on this earth. Like, let me just fucking live my best life and like, let me just help. Let me contribute to whoever else wants to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me just contribute to the earth, help people be sex positive and have orgasms and believe in themselves and love themselves and self-care and call it a day. So I get your goal not being like, yes, money would be nice. Okay, that's gonna come. Like that's destined to come because of just who you are as a being. But your mission is going to change like so many other lives. And the fact that making money is not your goal, your intent, like your first intention, I think that truly sets you apart from the rest just energetically. Like I can feel how my business looks when I'm feverish for money versus the shift I'm making now where I'm not looking at the money and I'm just focusing on the actual movement. So I love that so much.
Thank you. And I just think it's more of a practical approach, especially in this space. It's so sensitive and it's so intimate that if you approach it from a money, like if I was selling product, maybe that would, be different. And it's okay if you desire to be a millionaire and a billionaire, that's fine. But just essentially the lesson is don't lose yourself.
Yeah.
Know who you are, know what you stand for, not for what you want to be or desire, but just know who you are. Really find that root in yourself and really think about your fundamentals when you are approaching wanting to make money. Some people, they don't know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a hell of a sentence, but that's all I can think of right now. Some people, they don't know who they are or they don't know what they essentially stand for.
Yeah.
And then they get so insecure and they conflate and they project a lot and they get lost in the sauce essentially. Um, especially when they're on social media and they're comparing themselves to other people or they're doing it out of survival.
Yeah.
So at that point, they're already vulnerable
Yeah.
because they're doing everything out of survival. So when you're coming from that point, it's like you will lose yourself because you're slave to whatever that you're trying to chase. So it's always nice to really sit back, just fucking sit and think and realize who you are and what you stand for, and things will flow. You'll be surprised how things will flow out. But yeah, I just think it's more of a practical approach because like money, like you said, it comes and goes.
Yeah.
I really don't give a fuck. I mean, and honestly too, it's like my situation's different, right? I'm very privileged. Like I have a supportive family. You know what I'm saying? I was able to get on food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
And all these good things. Like I have resources and able to, you know, do this and be broke doing it, but do it, but I have a place. People don't have that opportunity. People got kids. People are in situations where they don't even have that time they don't have that privilege to sit and reflect.
That's
So
true.
it's completely understandable. And it is definitely easier said than done. But business is hard work. So approaching it from, wanting to make money, grow the fuck up. You're going to lose money doing this shit.
And also, just to go back to what you said about getting to know yourself being a privilege, I totally agree that that is definitely a privilege. But at the same time, I feel like we're so indoctrinated to believe that we have to work to prove our worth. And we don't have the time to sit down and learn about ourselves. We have to work, we have to work.
True.
Who are we working for?
True.
The man, you know what I'm saying? Like we're not, then we come home and we're depleted and there's just no self-care involved in our lives at all. So I don't really know. Like there are very few voices out there that are in inspiring people to take care of themselves, reminding people and teaching people. Like some people don't even know that they have the right to do that. Like to just do the smallest form of self-care for themselves. So I definitely love this talk because I feel like hopefully it can help rearrange some people's minds, even if you may not have the support system or whatever you feel like you need. Maybe there's one little thing you can do to like take care of your mental health or just not make money be the focus or get to know yourself in some way. So I love that so much. This is a little bit of a segue into our pussies and the title of the show. So the title of the show is My Pussy is Grieving, or Our Pussies Are Grieving. And so I would love to talk about why this was our episode. First, well, why this was our episode title. First, I want to ask you to tell me a little bit more about pussy grief and the inspiration behind the episode. Do you remember what?
Oh yeah, I will never forget. So first off, I'm grieving still. So I'm grieving from the elections.
Oh,
so everyone, like you said, love, she lives in a utopia world of Mexico right now. So this might not apply to her, but sorry, I fucked up your pronouns. Are you her or they?
I'm her.
Okay, good. I thought like, wait, are you a they or her? My bad.
No, I should have said, are you her, they?
They.
Okay, they. Perfect.
They. If you call me she, it's okay. I ain't gonna be like, you fucking, I ain't gonna go crazy. For people in the US, if you are a person that the election didn't go your way, please just drink plenty of water and take plenty of naps and just know, because there's a lot of rhetoric where it's a lot of doomsday rhetoric, and that's cool. Go into it. Feed into it. However, that's not how life works. You know what I'm saying? Life is not completely over. Even if you feel like it's completely over, no, it's not. It is a way to light fire and to go harder, and it's another part of your story.
Yes.
That's it. It's another part of your story, but it's not over.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm pussy grieving right now from the election. Absolutely. There's so many uterus owners out there that are grieving right now, that are really deep into the fight, and we're very disappointed on how reproductive justice and rights are going to be panning out for the next 4 years, or the lack thereof. And so yeah, it's just grieving. I've dealt with death, like, of a good friend. So I remember that. So it was my first wave of grieving and my pussy grieving. And really, it's just the lack of libido, and just you damn near fucking forget that you even have a uterus, you have desire, you just don't. It's being deep into your depression. I think it's like it could be one of the symptoms of depression or anxiety. Like, it's just, yeah, it's some fucked up shit.
Yeah. And also, if you are on any type of antidepressants, I know there are quite a few that can also jack up libidos as well on top of that. So it's like, I'm depressed and have no libido, and then I'm taking antidepressants and I still have no libido. So where the fuck is the libido coming from? So yeah.
Right.
1,000%. Just one note, although I am in Mexico, and this was a very intentional move to move before the next election, because it was just so clear to see. My thing is that I can't help from within. So I had to get out to be able to help. So I can observe. So I'm coming from like a bird's eye view right now, as opposed to being in the midst of it. Because I feel like I can't get my work done, and I have to stick to the mission, but I can't if I have all that America rhetoric around my head. You know what I'm like? I literally just look at Instagram. I'm like, I fucking can't. Like, I have goals and shit to do right now. Like, I'm on a mission. So I love everything he said, like, about not giving up, not being in despair. Like, we got shit to do. And yeah, thank you for that outlook. And also, I remember our conversation about your friend, and we were just talking about death and grief and our pussies. And I can also relate to, I had a friend that passed, and it was very sudden, and he had dated my friend prior, and I was in a relationship at the time. So there was never any, like, there were maybe 3 or 4 months where me and him could have explored something, but I was so scared about, like, what my ex was gonna think. Fuck him now. But like, what my ex was gonna think, or like what my friend who he dated was gonna think. And like, she wants to fuck me. We could have had a fucking threesome this whole time. Like, so I can definitely relate to the pussy grief. Did you want to give any more details about your story or about your friendship and why you feel as though your pussy is grieving?
Oh yeah, no problem. Actually, shout out to him. I think this is the anniversary of his death, so shout out to him. He was he was definitely an interesting individual. But this is someone that is a childhood friend and definitely a childhood like crush. Like I literally remember the first time I saw him, like he caught my attention very much so. And I liked him for years and years and years, but he never liked me back. And now when I look back at it from a different lens and just having a little, I guess, a little bit more wisdom or more insight, he and this can also go into it too. I'm going to be honest. Um, no disrespect to his family, but I will be honest, he was an abuser. And the reason why I bring that up is because he knew it too.
Oh.
He might not know it at that moment of time, but he knew it too. And that's quite like obviously he's probably just simply not attracted to me. And it's obvious because I was just not his type. I see the people that he dated. But another part is he really genuinely cared about me. He cared about me and he valued what we had. And he felt like it wasn't the right thing to do for us to get intimate because he knew how he showed up in intimate relationships. And he showed up in intimate relationships in the not so of the best, healthiest way.
Yeah.
And he just respected me enough to just keep it where it's at. Like, I like you. Like, I don't want to traumatize you or anything like that. Like I want to just you're the home girl, so let's just keep it just platonic. And at that time, I was young and I was so vulnerable because I had to detach from my original abuser, which was my one of my parents.
Mm.
And but nonetheless that was my parent and I still had that attachment because it's my parent, but I knew better that I had to get away from that situation. So when I ran away from that situation, my heart was still vulnerable and was still open. And my friend was essentially he was there. He reminded me he was someone that was familiar. He was something that was familiar to me. And I I I didn't fall in love with him, but I was in a very deep care for him at
Yeah.
a time that it was just really vulnerable. And he knew that. And he's like, yeah, no, let's just be homies. It's
Yeah.
okay. And yeah, so shout out to him. I wanted to fuck him real bad. I wanted to fuck him real bad. And I was gonna come back and spin the block and ask
Okay.
again because me and him, we went like 6 or 7 years without talking.
Okay.
So before I left Vegas, because I did, move to Dallas, but before I left to go to Dallas, I wanted to meet up with him and say, hey, you want to do it? Like, I want you to be my first partner. Fuck it. But listen, God had different plans. Like, bitch, no, go on to Dallas. You're not getting none of this. I'm gonna handle him. I'm gonna handle him.
Yes,
That motherfucker went up to the upper room, child. Jesus. So, y'all here.
I hate when you make a plan and it's so fucking grandiose. Like, yeah, I'm gonna take this leap. And God's like, no, sorry,
No,
this is not what's happening. And it's like, oh, but you have to be that dramatic and drastic? Like, you could have,
that dramatic and drastic showed its ass. I'm like, yo, you didn't have to kill the nigga.
redo. That's when life starts feeling hella real. Like, so I gotta wait till my next lifetime to see him again. Like, that's fucked up. Like, what the fuck?
Child, so dramatic. But
Yeah.
you know what? It was beautiful because it really, for me personally, it humbled me and
Wow.
it brought me back to reality to realize that you can die. I
Yeah.
didn't, I guess, I don't know. As I got older, I became more empathetic, but there was still a part of me where I was like, I don't see humans as humans. I
Mm-hmm.
can't think of the word right now, but maybe it's because I'm not a people person, but I don't see humans as humans. And I think they're just always going to be there. And life is just this long, slow, dreary thing that we just do. And like, no, like it's a humbling experience. No, you can die. Like,
Yeah.
you are fickle. You're not this big bad bitch wolf. Like, you are a person. you hurt, you bleed, you're a sensitive entity.
Yeah.
And your soul is, it might be big and strong, but your flesh is so fickle. And this shit can get snatched. Like, don't get it fucked up. So it definitely was a reality check, and it was definitely a lesson learned.
Absolutely. Do you feel like even with that mindset that you just have a different, or maybe do you feel like your outlook? Yes. Sorry, I didn't say that in my head. But do you feel like with that outlook, you now have a different look of death? I know you said you have a different outlook of humanity now, but do you have a different connection with death now?
No, there's still times where I'm scared of death
Mhm.
because it's unknown, because I'm a control freak.
Yep.
But no, I'm still I'm scared that I lose my, my family member, I'm still scared of it. I don't know if I don't even know if scare is the right word. I guess I want to use anxious. I like that better. I'm
Okay.
still very anxious about it. Um, but I feel like eventually it will go away, because that's just what happens when you experience. And shout out to the people that experience death multiple times. Like, the motherfuckers are
Yeah.
bulletproof.
Yeah.
Like, that's who I want to talk to. Like, how the fuck, you know what I'm saying? That was my first death experience where it was that close.
Hmm.
And going through that, I feel like was definitely a good adult experience. Um, but no, I still feel very anxious about death, like the next person would, but I'm definitely like, if it happens, it will happen. So
I definitely understand. That makes a lot of sense. I think that the reason why I asked that is because I definitely saw I've had three like really close deaths, and I can include my
wow.
uncle all in that as well. But they were spread out so far that it's like it just felt new every time, right? So when my grandma passed, though, that that was after my friend passed away. But between my grandma passing away and my friend passing away, when I moved to Mexico, that's when I was really able to grieve. But then when I started being able to actually grieve, because I was like the rock back in America, right? So I'm like trying to make sure everybody's okay with both deaths. So when I finally got to grieve both people and like process it, I just felt so much more connected, if that makes sense. Then I did
Yes.
shrooms, and then I felt, oh, fuck this. I like after doing shrooms and going to like a trance with shrooms, I was like, oh no, like
Mm.
this is fine. Like I feel like I see life for what it is now. Not to say that I'm not still terrified of death of like once again people closest to me, but I think it has definitely shifted my relationship, and even just trying to like I don't want to say communicate because that might sound a little like scary to some, but communicate with like the ancestors and like at my altar and stuff like that. It's like trying not to be ashamed of that and trying to just get more tapped into that because I know it's inevitable. So let me just like have a better relationship with it. But yeah, I asked because even with the title, like our pussies are grieving, is it the type of thing where you feel like you will now forever look for this person, for your friend within, I don't even want to say other partners, but like for me, I almost feel like our spirits were like kind of spread into multiple different people. So I think that
Mm.
I can meet, not no one's ever going to be him, but I can meet someone with a similar energy that feels familiar, that feels like love. That I feel like, oh yeah, we definitely like made each other in the past like before. Maybe not him, but like I said, it just he's helped me realize that I can have other connections like that here on this earth, like familiar energy. So do you feel as though you can relate to that? That question was a lot, so if you can't, feel free.
No, I'm gonna let him go fully.
Yes. Ooh.
Be because first off, that's very self-centered,
Okay.
right? Like, and this is my perspective. It's
Yeah.
self-centered. Like I said, when he was when me and him met, like I said, I was in a vulnerable moment in my life. And I was a baby. I was a teenager when I met him. And like I said, he just reminded me so much of my parent. But he's not my parent. He's my homie. He's my friend. But he was so familiar to the point of what I was missing. And just I met him at a time where I was just very vulnerable, and what I thought I needed or wanted in my life at that time. So no. I'm going to I've made peace with it. I made peace with him, and I want to let him go fully.
Wow.
And he's not his entity, his spirit, it doesn't, we're good. We
Wow.
left on a good note, like legit, like we left on a good note, and I'm going to let that go completely. Now I still do like niggas with locks, so but that's something different, right? That's just something so different, you know? But him and what he meant to me, he was there for a reason. He was there for a reason, and that was to comfort me at that moment in time. And that's just what it is. Like, I don't want, no, I'm not going to even look for, because Quiet as Kept, who he was to me at that time, was abusive.
Mhm. I got
So if
you.
anything, it could have been it could have been just like a reaction of my Stockholm syndrome, essentially. So I have to let that go. I have to let what he represented to me go. And whoever he is doesn't belong to me, whether it's in physical or in spirit. He's his own entity, and I'm going to allow him to rest.
Ooh.
Now, if anything, like, yeah, I have dedication art to him, and I'm always going to remember him because he did bring me joy, because he was my homie. However, I would never take that with me and have that type of expectation into a new relationship, because I'm not even that person anymore.
That's deep.
I'm a new person. So it just wouldn't make sense, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, 1,000%. And I was gonna say I think maybe I asked my question wrong, but no, I think that your last response also made sense for my question that I was asking as well. And I think that now that I look at it, I I think that maybe the difference between our situations is that for me, mine felt more like I want to say a soul tie, because I
Mm,
never got to, like, those people that you meet in life and it's like a quick passing. Like, it's not a long experience, but the experiences that y'all have together are pretty prominent, and so they're like real flat. So you have a lot of what ifs in your head, as opposed to you were able to live out a friendship and get to know him for exactly who he was and see different sides of him. As opposed to on mine, I didn't know as much. I maybe knew like 50% of who he really was. You know what I'm saying? And also, I think
yes.
me and him had very similar energies. So what I was looking at it within him, and all the things that I liked and admired within him, were things that I love and admire within myself.
About yourself.
So me trying to meet somebody else is just me trying to meet somebody else with a bit of myself in there. And I think that I really just had this epiphany while having this conversation. So thank you very much.
I mean, so at this point, bitch, you just want to date yourself.
Yes,
That's okay. Yeah, you just want to date yourself at this point.
absolutely.
Kiss yourself in the mirror. Go marry yourself like Maya did. You got
I
it.
I do that, and also I want to do that. I got
Yeah,
Yeah, like what? And then can I get like fucking tax breaks and shit? I don't know, like tax benefits or something because I'm married.
period.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about how dealing with grief has impacted our libido, sex, and desires. When
Yeah.
it comes to your libido, do you feel as though you've gotten that back up after your pussy was grieving for so long?
Yes. Yeah, it came back. I will say there was two factors, right? There was two other factors.
Mhm.
Not only was I dealing with the death of my homie, I moved to a state, into a completely new city. I was living by myself, and I also was diagnosed with a thyroid disorder.
Mhm.
So that, like, and I just want to put that out there, like, because people are like, oh, when you grieve, like, was it just death? No, there's so many things can go into what can fuck up your libido, even stress.
Wow.
So with those three factors, I literally, and I just talked about this the other day, but I literally had to sit down and be like, did I masturbate? When's the last time I did that?
Mhm.
And it was 3, 4 months. And
Wow.
that's not normal for me. And so that also validated and assured me, like, oh no, there's something wrong.
Wow.
So yeah, after I got my health together, and Quizzes kept moving back to Vegas, my hometown, my libido's fantastic.
Wow.
Like, it's better. I didn't realize, and honestly, another realization too, when I moved back and how I was masturbating and stuff like that, and I actually was able, even down to like my wetness. When I was in Dallas, my shit was dry.
Wow.
My shit was dry. But that let me know that okay, living in Dallas was not the it wasn't right for me. I
Whoa.
was anxious the whole entire time. That let me know I was just anxious the whole time. I thought I was being dramaed out when I was living there because I loved my apartment. I missed it. It was the boom boom room. But bitch, I wasn't boom booming. Like it was bad. I felt anxious when I lived there. So when I moved back, and I was back in a more familiar place, I guess that made me feel more comfortable. And yeah, I'm wet now. I'm not dry anymore, everybody. I'm good. I'm making mac and cheese again, you guys. I'm making mac and cheese. And yeah, like my libido is it's good now. At
Yes,
least it's for now, bitch. For now.
absolutely. You got this. I have faith in you and your libido. That's crazy though. Your vulva was literally like, this ain't it. I'm
This
not
ain't
feeling
it.
this environment. I'm not feeling this vibe. Yes, I like the apartment and the boom boom boom, but no, like you gotta get me the fuck out of here. That's really, really, really interesting. Like, what
Right.
if our freaking vulvas are the things that let us know when we gotta get the fuck out of a place?
It
Like,
does.
yes.
It
It's
does. And I want people with uteruses to realize listen to your fucking body. Be
mhm,
more intuitive. And
mhm,
that includes your vulva.
mhm.
Not just like, oh, check your fucking heart rate or any check your fucking vulva. Like look at it if you must, but actually sit down because listen, I'm telling you, especially if you're a person that's getting older or genetically you have, medical issues, um yeah, you have to check your vulva. You
Yeah.
have to check your vulva. And honestly, like I said, I when it comes to like, and that's just me. I'm just everybody, like I have Capricorn in my chart, so it's very like me very being very anal. But I do like I always make sure, hey, did I masturbate this month? If I
Wow.
didn't masturbate within a month, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like it's just the most naturalist way to really check in yourself because like libido, your pleasure is very important and it is a part of your health. And
Yes.
that's what people don't like to think about, but it is a part of your health.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I love that so much. Like so, so, so much. I feel like we've gotten so disconnected from our bodies. And even though I speak a lot about like sexual health and sexual wellness and being unapologetic and loving your vulva, like there's so much deconstructing that we have to do in our own minds to be able to reconnect with our vulva, like our bodies as a whole, but then our vulvas at that, like the thing that they've told us to literally disconnect from. Like I just learned freaking tampons. You know the plastic applicators that we have, and they were cardboard
Hmm.
at the time. Those were created by a white man because they didn't want women to accidentally touch themselves, their vulvas, and get aroused. So they said, well, let's create a barrier to where they can push this into their vulva. Yep, so they could push this into their vulva and don't have to touch it. It was not for an easier application. No, it was because of shame. Yep.
Granted, that's how hot we is though. We get hot around this bitch. And that's beautiful. Like I really want people to realize that if you have a vulva and you're a uterus owner, and clitorises are just meant for pleasure. That's the only thing that they're for. They're not used for anything. It's not used for males and procreation. No, it's meant for fucking pleasure. So it would sadden me when I would hear a person say that they never even achieved an orgasm, not even a little bit. Because I'm
Mhm.
like, you have an organ dedicated to that.
Yes. It's always so interesting to me when I talk to parents about sex and they're like, oh, like, oh my God. And I'm like, well, what did you do to have your kids? Like, if they had them naturally, like, what did you do? And then that's when I realized like everybody's not having sex for pleasure. Like, but that was such like granted, I mean, I'm the whole time I'm trying to have sexual pleasure and I'm still not feeling pleasure. And I went in with the intention of feeling pleasure. So then I had to take a pause, hence my celibacy. But it's like, what about those people who are not taking a pause and are just having sex just nonstop, and it's like you're just disgusting yourself from your body, from your partner, and from the sex. It's very interesting. So I hope that
So
those
they didn't have the kid through anal?
no,
Oh.
unfortunately, no. Don't think that that's what they did. But I did know this one girl that she was in my friend's college dorm room, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like I just had anal sex." And we were like, "What, girl? I thought you were a virgin." And she's like, "Oh no, yeah, I'm still a virgin."
No, you're not. Grow up. Fucking grow up. You're not.
She was convinced. You couldn't tell her anything. Okay, she was absolutely convinced. I was like, "All right, whatever makes you feel like whatever."
So fucking childish. Like,
Like,
okay, girl.
do you feel like that's the same? Okay, so they say allegedly the definition of celibacy is you can't masturbate. So I made up the rule that you.
I don't know.
So do you feel like me saying that you can masturbate during celibacy is the same thing as that girl saying that she's still a virgin because she did only anal?
Listen, all you guys are whores and sluts. I never even had intercourse before. So technically, I am the actual definition book of a virgin. So all you guys are some hoes to me. No, I'm joking. I'm so joking, everybody. I swear. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know because I haven't even experienced, like I said, I haven't experienced intercourse. So I would like to hear more about your celibacy experience and really what is celibacy. Because in my mind, when I think of celibacy, is yeah, you can't masturbate.
Yeah.
But I'm masturbating. Fuck all that shit.
Like I just feel like, well, first of all, for my celibacy, it was like the best thing that I've ever done. I fought it for the first year, and then when I finally gave in to being celibate, it was amazing. So definitely, I remember talking to my therapist about this though, and she encouraged me to create my own guidelines regarding my celibacy. But she said technically the definition was that masturbation wasn't included. It was like being celibate from everything. But I also am a very literal person. And so abstaining and abstinence versus celibacy, those two confuse the shit out of me. And I can read the definition over and over and over again, and it will still confuse me. And to me, like, my celibacy was straight up like no sex, no dating. Like,
Right.
some people do celibacy where they might not masturbate, but they might go on dates. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just feel like even with the girl with her virginity and the anal, looking back on it, I feel like everyone should just be able to make up their own rules because technically all of these concepts are just concepts. Like the virginity.
Yeah.
She's a concept. So she wants to get fucked in her behind and she loves it and wants to say that she's a virgin.
She's not a virgin. Homegirl, if you're out there from an actual virgin, ma'am, virgin, you're not a virgin. You're having anal sex. The key word in that is sex. Let it go, ma'am. Let it go.
So, do you feel like oral sex?
Yes, oral sex. You're a whore. You're having oral sex. Even yes. You're not a virgin if you're having oral sex. We gotta have a defiant on this. There has to be if you're sucking dick, because think about this. Because we're having this discussion, mind you, this is very hetero. Very. So we got to take into the discussion of queer.
That
there are people with certain genitals where there's no insertion.
Yes.
So if that's the case, yes, oral sex, you're a whore, you're a slut. The extremist Christians will say you're going to hell. All right, so
and she's like,
yeah. So I'm like, just everybody let it go. If you've been having butt sex and sucking dicks in vagina, you are experienced. Okay.
I just personally feel like someone that claimed to be a quote unquote virgin, whatever that might look like, at the age of 20 until the age of 24, but was sucking dick at the age of 18, right? Wasn't I? What? No. I love my life. No, I love that I cannot remember the first penis I sucked. No, I love this. This is a grand moment in time. I might have been 20 or 21, but
Did it taste funny?
Was I sober when it happened?
See,
when I was doing these things when I was younger. It probably tasted like salt. Knowing the person whose penis I sucked, it probably tasted like salt and asphalt. No, it did taste funny. It did taste funny because I remember the first time I ever tasted semen in my mouth.
See, you do not make me want to do it.
No, you have to make sure he's vegan, fucking plant-based, and drinks water. Because this Negro didn't drink water, I don't think. He literally had drank a 40 ounce.
Oh, you like them hood niggas. See, with them hood niggas, it's a different experience. You might kind of, let it slide because he's a hood nigga. Like,
No,
you
no,
know what they're giving.
girl, not that one. That wasn't fun. I mean, I had fun. I did it for the plot. I have great stories to tell, but like the 40 come, I'm okay on that one. Like that was not.
Yeah.
So yes, to answer your question, it did taste funny because his hygiene was just jacked up. But if you were with somebody that had great hygiene, then no, I don't think that it would be bad. I mean, like no shade to him. I know I've had some fucked up hygiene moments as well. Like I'm just gonna take responsibility because I was about to blame my ex, and I'm like, Tia, we're better than that. By the way, have I told you that I have ADHD? So like you are just riding this ADHD roller coaster with me, and I love you. Thank you so much.
I'm here for it. And isn't abstinence more so geared to marriage?
Let me Google it. Because I think these are also
Yeah.
both very religious terms as well. So not only is it hetero, but it's also freaking religious. So
Yeah, because I want to go back to that because that's a good question. What's the difference between celibacy and abstinence? In my mind, isn't celibacy more of a spiritual connection and grounding yourself and taking out all of outside influences, and abstinence is more of a mission to save yourself for a person in marriage?
okay. And I always
Maybe.
felt like abstinence was that. Yes, you're abstaining from sex until marriage. But it was always that until marriage aspect. Because some people are like, oh, I'm
Yes.
abstinent, but not until marriage. Like I'm just I'm abstaining until dot 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 whenever I feel. And
Right.
then celibacy, um, I was trying to like break it down in my head. You know how they'd be like, the term is Latin and celi means sex and bissy means, but I don't even know what I thought the concept was. I don't know. Okay, I have them pulled up. So see this, and this is exactly why the fuck it's confusing. For celibacy, it says the state of abstaining from marriage, not for marriage, from. This is from the Oxford Dictionary. The state of abstaining from marriage and sexual relations. What the fuck? And the mid 17th century term from Latin celibalis is unmarried. So like the root of the word is means unmarried. Celibate.
Mm.
And then that's definitely not what the fuck I guess technically I am. I'm not planning on getting married. And abstinence is the fact or practice of restraining oneself from indulging in something, typically alcohol. Um, yeah.
So Mormonism. Okay. Well, um, I'm a hoe then.
Like,
You
what
a
the
hoe? Everybody's a hoe. If you're watching this, you a hoe and you a slut. And like the extremist Mormons and Christians, you're going to hell. It's okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I stand by this message because what the fuck? Like, this is exactly why I don't like labels. This is exactly why I don't like labels.
And
Like,
I'm thinking when I think about celibacy, granted, this is the Webster, so this is very westernized.
mm-hmm.
When I think of celibacy, I think of monks and I think of people that are like that practice Eastern
Yeah.
practices. And I feel like they probably define it differently than the westernized version
I
of it. So,
agree. Yeah, even same for abstinence. Like that,
yeah.
I thought that they didn't even mention sex, and I could have sworn that the definition for celibacy would have been that one for abstinence. But then in the definition for celibacy, they use the word abstinence. So that's why language is really very interesting. Yeah, like you said, we're all hoes, we're all whores, and just call it a day. And even with virginity, with oral sex, because at one point I was gonna say we should break it down. Like, are you an oral sex virgin? Are you an anal sex virgin? Are you a vaginal penetration virgin? If you are a person with a vagina, because technically I'm an anal sex virgin, but who gives a fuck? That I think that that's the point. Like who gives like why do we care so much?
Because people do, because a lot of people that are very experienced, they don't like being your first experience. So at some point, it does have to be a conversation because there's been times where I would talk to a person and they find out that I never had penetrative sex before. nor oral, and they're looking at me like I fucking said I worship Satan. And I'm like, first off, what's wrong with that? You're rude.
Yeah.
They're nice people. They need, respect too. Um, but then I'm like, yeah, and it makes them uncomfortable for whatever personal reason. Sometimes the reason is I just don't want to be your first. I want someone that's experienced. I just want to fuck and I want it to be a smooth experience, and I feel like it's just not going to be smooth. Or they feel like I'm gonna get needy, which I'm like, why are you projecting on me? Like, motherfucker, you don't know how I'm gonna be. Or motherfuckers just if it's too intimidating. They don't want to be the ones because if it's pressure. So if they end up giving me a bad experience, I will definitely be, they will be a part of my traumatized story, and they probably don't want to be a part of that. So
Can you
yeah, it's important.
break that down for a second?
Mm,
So people don't want to be your first when it comes to penetration, because what I'm hearing is they don't want to have to take the time and the efforts and energy to learn your body to be able to give you a beautiful, pleasurable experience.
correct.
That is so. And you're speaking of male partners?
Yes, male partners, male cis partners. And that's absolutely correct. At first, when I was younger, I didn't think that. I was ashamed of that. I was embarrassed.
Me too.
That was actually what homeboy, my pussy grieving guy,
Yes.
he was disgusted by the fact that I never had penetrative sex. But
Wow.
like I said, he's an abuser.
Mm-hmm.
So if an abuser is not going to want to give you an actual pleasurable, beautiful experience. They want to fuck.
Yep.
They want to, and he just didn't want to be that. So at first I thought I was shamed, I was embarrassed of it. But as I got older, I realized I don't want to associate myself with a person that is that inconsiderate. Like,
Yes.
grow up.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah. That's literally like, yeah, I definitely, I've heard that before as a virgin prior as well. Like, oh, I don't want you to get so attached or you're going to get needy or this, that, and the third. And it's like, it's like if we break those words down, it's like, I don't want you to like me so much. Like, this is supposed to be like, who the fuck kind of disconnected as,
It's childish.
oh,
It's childish. And if people are out there are still approaching relationships in that manner of, oh, I don't want a person to like me too much, bitch, you have abandonment issues or there's something wrong. Because grow up. A person is supposed to like you a lot. That's the whole point of building a bond and trust and liking somebody. It's
yes.
called actually like being in a relationship, at least in an intimate one. So
Absolutely. And feel free to excuse me, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but do you desire to experience penetration at a point with a partner?
So I'm going back and forth. And honestly, and I'm glad you asked me this question because I talked about this prior before, but it was asked differently. Um, I'm at a point of my sexual journey where I really want to be a hoochie hoe. Like
Yes.
I want to express my sexuality because I believe sexuality ignites creativity, at least for me. Like, so feeling sexy, whether it's wearing a piece of clothing or just, I don't know, doing whatever that makes you feel sexy. I want to tap into that more because I am I'm not a very uptight person, but I can get uptight because I have anxiety. And I feel like once when I tap into how I want to express myself sexually, I think it would make me a little bit more relaxed. And I think I will be able to attract the person I want to attract. Right now, it's not happening. I'm anxious, I'm always on guard and it doesn't feel sexy. So that also ties into penetrative sex. When I think about penetrative sex, it does disgust me, but I do want to experience it though. I'm the type of person I can't be disgusted and I haven't experienced it yet. At least let me give it a try before I start be like, fuck no. And
Okay.
it's different, right? It's so different. I'm so used to stimulation. I've been having orgasms since I was 8.
Okay.
So I'm in my mind, I'm like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I know how to make myself come. I love myself. I know how to pleasure myself. Um, so I mean, and penetration too is almost, it's not all the way, but it's almost also allowing myself to be vulnerable. So it's more than just penetrative sex. I got to be vulnerable for that. And I'm not vulnerable. And that's something that I'm working on. So
Okay.
there's a lot, there's layers to this thing. I'm sorry I gave you a long-winded answer,
Oh, that's
but it's like, it takes layers. You have to be prepared to receive, if that makes sense. And I'm going to continue to grow sexually and learn about my vulnerability and accept and love my vulnerability. And I think once when I'm there, I think I'll be more comfortable with the concept and with Marshawn penetrating me.
yes, I love that. I feel like I'm usually very rare being somebody that doesn't that I'm going to change my narrative. Being somebody that is trying to learn how to enjoy penetration, whether that be self penetration or penetration from someone else. So it's always nice to talk to someone who also maybe has their reservations about penetration or maybe hasn't experienced it before. So I always want to know what's going on in your mind. And I also wanted to ask you, have you had oral sex before? Like, have you received oral sex?
No, never. I'm
Okay.
so vanilla.
Okay. No, that's not
One day. You know what was preventing me is I'm a germaphobe. That's why I asked you earlier, does it taste funny?
got you.
Because I remember I had a tongue on the tip, and that's where it ended. I had and I was like, yeah, no, I don't like how that tastes. I'm good.
You're like,
And I honestly want to normalize actually fucking, if you do plan to suck a person with a penis,
yes,
to normalize actually using condoms.
yes.
A lot of people don't use condoms on penises, especially when it comes to oral. And yeah, it's just not normalized. And I'm like, I would suck if I can use a condom, but
Absolutely.
oh, I'm
Yeah.
just too much of a germaphobe. You see, I'm uptight, baby. I'm not, listen, you are wild, and me, I'm not.
No, I love it though. I don't think that that's crazy at all. I mean, first of all, when you spoke about vulnerability, I'm like, that's why I asked about oral because I'm like, well, oral is super vulnerable. So if you've had oral and you weren't comfortable with penetration, then that's a different discussion. But being that you haven't had oral yet, I totally understand. Um, and to normalizing the condoms, totally, 1,000% yes. I will say, as someone who has sucked a penis with a condom before, you once again don't do things with people that you don't know well or trust or are not patient, because I literally almost choked on the condom while trying to give this person head, literally.
Because he pulled back.
No, because like I was trying to hold it down and then like yeah, my head's like but I'm sucking. So I'm sucking the condom every time and I'm holding it down though. His dick was humongous. Like it was unnecessary. It was just it was too much. And then don't do me. Don't do like me. I'm like tired of trying to keep the condom on. So I look up to this boy that I just met from Hinge and I'm like, when's the last time you got tested? Knowing damn fucking well whatever the
Wait,
answer is gonna be a lie.
wait.
Yes.
So you was sucking and then you thought about the testing part, or
No, I was sucking the dick with the condom. And then I was
okay.
like, I can't do this. So in my head at the moment. So I was like, when's the last time you got tested? And he was like 3 weeks ago. No, I know that's a lie. But in the moment in my mind, again, I said, don't be like me. I took the condom off and gave him oral.
And
Thank
how did you almost choke?
from the condom. So I only almost choked on the condom. So when I first started giving him oral, I had put the condom on and then I was
Mhm.
sucking. But as I'm sucking, the suction, like, it's sucking the condom up, even though I'm holding it at the base. Okay, I just realized my hands are down where I'm doing.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm literally holding it at the base, holding it down with my hand, with my fingers, but I'm sucking. I also wonder if the condom just didn't fit him, which now,
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It sounds like that was a fitting issue.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's not supposed to happen. Because if it was going to be like that in your mouth, imagine if you actually have penetrative sex with
exactly.
him. It would have came up.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. I
So know your condom sizes,
yes,
everybody. That's
absolutely.
the
Now,
moral of the story.
let's also note that this is back in like right after my relationship. I was 26, 27, just trying to have a whole phase. Like I knew this stuff, right? Like I knew to ask to get tested and I knew to have conversations beforehand about what you like. And I knew all of this, but there was like this feverishness that I like had to have as many fucking bodies as I can. And now I have the bodies, but I or the sexual partners and the experiences, but I'm like recluse now from it. Like I did too much, you know? So I'm realizing that there's a lot of, like you said, like unlearning, like remember or learning, like condom sizes, and don't always trust. Especially, I just feel like if it's a newer partner, like don't always trust that it's gonna like that this is gonna be done properly in the moment. Like have these conversations beforehand in person. Because I have tried to have conversations via text, and you can say whatever you want, but you can't, you know, like especially if you're dealing with a cis hetero man, like they can only answer one question at a time. And so if I have multiple questions, I just need to ask them in person before we even, and like make that be a thing. Like make it be a cute date or something in bed where you can ask your partner all these things, especially if it's your first time with them. Like regardless of if you've had penetration or not, like I just think those conversations should be had. Like 1,000%.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we grown. We're definitely, that's a normalized, because listen, and I will say this as an avid virtual dater,
Mm-hmm.
because when it comes to dating, my rule is if, especially if I'm just virtual dating, I don't meet these people until maybe a month or 3 months in. I feel comfortable just connecting with the person virtually for, you know, a couple of weeks before I actually meet with them in person. But even then, like, if it's not months, I don't need that long. You don't know how many ducks and dodges that I've fucking made talking to a person within one night for like maybe eight hours.
Wow.
I learned so much about them.
Wow.
I learned that the complete, I don't want to say nut job, but they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. To the point where I'm like, wow, I'm glad I did not invest and waste my time getting ready, getting prepared to meet this person in person. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm so happy I didn't fucking waste my time to meet this individual in person. Because I find out that they're low key, they're one be. I was talking to a guy for maybe like 6 hours, 5 hours, 5, 6 hours. I guessed he was a pimp because
What?
the way he was talking and just like the vibe, I'm like, you're a pimp. And he laughed at first, but then I said it again. He's like, actually, yeah, I was a pimp before. I'm like,
Oh.
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 So that's why I'm like, I want people to take your time,
Yes.
essentially. Take your time and vet. And
Yes.
that includes if you are getting into sexual interactions. I mean, granted, it's your autonomy. You're going to do what you want to do. But it's really best, especially at this time, to really vet a person and really talk to them and pay the fuck attention. And
Yes.
talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. And pay attention, because I'm telling you, even just like with virtual dating, I found out so much. That's why I'm so pissed Hinge took off the video feature.
Oh.
Yeah, and it, because I'm like, it really actually made me not want to virtually date, because I'm like, that was a part of, that's me dating. That's,
Yeah.
I'm dating. Like, we're on the phone for like hours, nigga, we're dating. A lot of motherfuckers be like, no, we're not. Because in their mind, they're performative. Everyone's performing. They think going on a date is going to fucking a restaurant. No, if you're talking to someone for hours, if you look up the word date, I think it has something to do with time.
I
If you're
believe.
yeah, like if you're spending a certain amount of time with the person, that's a fucking date.
Yeah.
I'm already clocking your shit. I've
Yeah.
clocked so many guys from just being on the phone with them for hours on end. I realize that they beat bitches. I realize that they're pimps. I realize they're red pillars. I realize they're fucking homophobic. I realize they're transphobic. I realize they don't know how to fuck
Wow.
just from the fucking statements and rhetorics that they are talking about. And if they don't know how to fuck, they don't know how to be intimate.
Mhm.
I figure out they have fucking parent issues. Like,
No.
talk, fucking talk to people and listen. Don't just bump your gums.
Yeah.
Listen, listen.
And look at the actions as well, because
Mm-hmm.
people are great at chatting, but what are their actions showing you too? I think that
Yeah.
that is superb advice. I wish that you would have been in my life in 2020. Yeah, definitely. I think that's the best.
Everybody wish if they were in their own lives in 2020. The fuck you talking about? People were dying in this bitch. Talk about you wish I was in your life. Everyone wish they were in their own lives.
I know, 1,000%. Like, but I just didn't get to know people enough. So then I was just so shocked when I would meet them and they were whole sociopaths. Like, yes, it's very easy to put on a facade for a week, but I was just so pressed. And if I had a better relationship with masturbation, I could have been pleasing myself that entire time while getting to know them, and that horniness would have just built up and built up within myself, you know?
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, and that's another tip, and I'm pretty sure everyone does it, but it's always nice to talk about. I Whatever genital you have, if you have a penis or a vulva, please masturbate before you go on any physical date.
Ooh,
Please. So
okay.
you can be in the fucking right mind. We make so much stupid ass like decisions when we're horny. Like it's not even funny. Like, and it's good. It's good to be horny and all that stuff, you know, when you meet somebody like Marshawn.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, if me and Marshawn go on a date, I'm gonna make sure it might not even work either. Like, yeah, I'm gonna masturbate before I go on a date with him, but I'm probably still gonna be horny. But at least I won't be that extra horny to the point I'm not in my right mind. And you fuck around, you could either you're too vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be taken advantage of. You don't want, cues, or you just don't want any miscommunication.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. You want to communicate as effective as possible, especially in an intimate moment like dating.
Yeah. A
So
thousand percent. Come on, Kiana's tips with
I
Kiana.
know what this is your show. You're supposed to be helping me.
Amazing, sweetie. Thank you. This is what I needed. Okay, I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Where are some different kinds of safe spaces people can go or actions people can do to begin with their healing journeys when it comes to like getting having a healthier relationship with themselves, with sex, with their libido, or even those that may be grieving their libido? Like, what are some safe spaces that people can? Where are some safe spaces people can go, or things that people can do to work through some things?
To go home.
Period.
Take your ass home.
Get out them streets.
Yeah, just get out the streets. Like, go home. Go sit in your room. Go in your living room or the kitchen, where go home.
Yeah.
That's where you can go. You can go the fuck home and possibly take a nap as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, things to do. I mean, if because we talk about normacy, but you have to realize normacy is what you define it to be. It's more of like a perspective, like your own perspective than just like what's normal. Like you said like we talked about earlier in the show, make sure the reason why you need to go home is so you can give yourself that opportunity to be in silence, to actually body check, mind and body check. That's really important to do every now and then. And I'm not saying do that shit every single day, but like just do it every now and then. Like do it quarterly or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Or maybe do like a surface level one every day, like a body check.
mm,
Then like a real intimate body check that can be done intimately. Yeah.
yeah, and then and when I say check, it's like you're not like just poking at yourself but just asking yourself critical questions about what is abnormal for you and what is normal for you. If you feel like there's been certain patterns or certain things that you feel that don't align with who you are at that moment of time, then it's okay to question that and to reevaluate that and go forward and decide if you want to manage it or just push it through. But it's just being very critical with yourself, being critical and holding yourself accountable and give yourself space and the silence you need to actually get critical and get accountable, if that makes sense.
I love that so much. Um, can I also add the word compassion in there too?
Yes, if you listen, because you're
Compassion.
gentle. I'm not that gentle. I'm a roughneck. But yes, compassionate. Yes, that's beautiful.
I
Can you
love it.
explain to people, can you explain to me and the people what is being compassionate to yourself?
Well, it's a journey that I've definitely had to grow through, but I think that being compassionate for myself looks like that voice in my head that is normally very hypercritical, because I think it's beautiful to be self-aware, and to have like comments and things that you may want to grow through into reflections of yourself, but then having that really sweet, kind voice that's like, okay, and yes, but you're working through this, and you deserve to feel good, and this is just a moment, and this will pass, and you're stronger. Like, to me, the compassion and the self-compassion is just that gentleness, that kindness. To me, it's like a voice in my head. um
Mm,
or even the way that I touch myself. Like, I want to touch myself with compassion. Sometimes I move so fast, or I just like do, or I like scratch my face so hard, and it's like, why, like, be soft, like, it's okay, be compassionate for yourself. And I think that for people who struggle with self-compassion, if you can imagine yourself as an inner child, I think that's really helpful, because like, how can you be mean to a sweet little baby, you know? So I think that's really, really helpful for me. That's been, but also like, I think deciphering between what criticism is, or like what self-critiquing is, what compassion is, and then that like outside voice of shit other people have told you, because that can sometimes get kind of like caught up in this other side. So I think the compassion also helps unwind things that other people have told you as well.
Yeah, and that's beautiful that you're at that moment, because that's still something I'm still working on right now, is finding that compassion, that vulnerability, because and this can go to other people too that resonate. Growing up, I didn't have any type of authoritarian. I was literally just I have a lot of abandonment issues, so that definitely triggers not knowing how to be vulnerable or compassionate. So with me being abandoned, I had to be my own authoritarian, and I had to protect myself at all costs. So there's no time for being gentle and nice. We gotta, and I'm from the hood, so you gotta stick and move. You got to really keep your head on a fucking swivel. So there are people out there that don't have the opportunity to be compassionate, and I definitely, that's acknowledged. But when you do get that opportunity, really fully embrace it and enjoy it, you know, and don't think you're being lazy or you're being bitch or pussy. No, you're not. You're it's definitely needed. It's definitely needed, especially for those individuals that do want to walk in partnerships. I don't know if you're gonna welcome a partnership if you're constantly being an authoritarian, unless you're a dom, maybe.
Right.
But if you're always approaching it from authoritarian and just being a control freak, and things are black and white and you don't want to be nuanced, I don't know. That doesn't sound that welcoming to me. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So being compassionate and being vulnerable is like the most beautiful experiences, and that's the first step to welcoming people into your world, or just loving yourself more, if anything.
Absolutely. And I also think that when you grow up in a space of an abusive household, or if you have an abusive parent, I think that sometimes if we can think to ourselves, we don't want to continue to abuse ourselves. And by giving ourselves a lack of self-compassion, then I feel like we're just continuing that
Abuse,
cycle.
yeah.
Exactly. But also giving ourselves compassion for not knowing how to give ourselves compassion. Because where did we learn it
Yes.
from? You know what I'm saying? Like, where would we have seen that otherwise? So yeah, I think that that's helpful. And then also for safe spaces, for those who can't go home as a safe space, maybe being out in nature, if that's possible. Um, Even if you live in a city, like I know in New York we have Central Park, but we also have like atriums and stuff like that as well. Even depending on the weather, like there are different places. Botanical gardens, people can go to like
Mhm.
decompress and go within. And you know what else helped me find more of my compassionate voice, who I also consider to be my higher self, is
Mm.
writing down the thoughts that I have that I know are not mine. So, and then
Mm.
like the thoughts that I do have that are mine, like, is it really that bad? Like, okay, I talk really fast. And sometimes I judge myself for talking so fast and I stutter. And I'm like, is it really that bad? Like, am I killing somebody by talking so fast? No. Am I hurting somebody by stuttering? No. So this doesn't have to be a critique that I give myself. Somebody, excuse me, in my past told me I was ugly. My ex, I carried that on me for a while, for way too fucking long.
How
And then
are you ugly though? Hold on, wait a minute. I want you to continue. But how are you ugly though? Like really, what is ugly?
I don't know.
You're how old are you?
It was his spirit. His spirit was reflecting
I
into
don't understand. Well, how are you ugly though? That's why if someone calls me ugly, I'm like, well, how?
it.
Like, well, because they're not gonna say that. They're gonna be like, what? No,
Exactly.
you said I'm ugly, so how am I ugly?
No,
Tell me what is ugly.
explain. Yeah. Like give me the bullet points.
Yeah, because I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I'm dead confused. Like I have all my teeth. I don't smell bad. I have a
Yeah.
dimple. I have
Yeah.
nice skin. Like I can tell you all the things that I'm not ugly. I can tell you all the things that are cute and sexy. So I really want to hear from you, since you just know it all and you know how to judge. This is a pageant. So basically you're
Yeah.
so tell me what is ugly.
Like, and Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to be so petty this down. I'm trying to be.
I got triggered for a second because I'm so confused on how that
Yeah,
even came up.
yeah,
I'm confused.
yep. That was a core belief. So many other. I like, and when I wrote them all down, a lot of them came from my dad. A lot of the core beliefs that I had, the negative ones, and a lot of the negative core beliefs that I had came from my ex. But the ones from my ex overpowered the ones from my dad. So I was like, okay, we can, and like we can work through this shit. So me and my ex, me and my dad are still actively working through healing our relationship. So even the moments where he's kind now, though, I still feel like I still need to heal old stuff that he said to be able to even accept the new stuff, if that makes sense.
That
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
that was a totally different conversation about the healing from parental things, but it's all so relative and so relevant. So with my ex, when I realized that he had a majority of the negative thoughts that I had in my head, it was that much easier for me to be able to remove them. Because then I started hearing those thoughts play over and over again, like, you're so negative, nobody's gonna listen to you, this, that, and the third, but you're whatever. And they were his voice. And I was like, not him still haunting me fucking 4 years later. I was like, fuck that. So that's when I was able to really figure out what my actual voice is. And my actual voice is actually so kind. Like, yes, I'm a Virgo, so there is some criticism in there, but then also having to have that kindness in my head as well. Even during this call, I literally was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm all over the place. Like I'm stuttering. Like I lost my train of thought at one point. Now, granted, this entire episode has been beautiful. And I hate
Oh, this is the best episode you had.
no, I swear, I literally feel like I say like, oh my God, this is the episode I've been looking forward to the most. And then I have another episode. And this is how I feel about this episode. This is the episode that I've been looking forward to so much. And like, I feel like it's just going to be such a highlight. But I had to have that criticism turn off of like, so what if you're stuttering? You have ADHD. We know this. Like, this is a part of you. This is a part of the brand. Like, this is who you are. That compassionate voice was able to get me through whatever anxiety I had regarding how I was showing up.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Because I heard everything, but this question came to my mind when we were reflecting on your experience with this imbecile. Um, what is it like being in a relationship with you?
Oh, with me?
Yes, like what is it like? I wish I can ask that a little better, but you know what I mean? Like if let's treat it like a job interview or something. I don't know, but like say like I wanted to date you. And I do, but not really. You're the homegirl. I don't want to date you, but let's say like I wanted to date you. Yeah, like just say I had an interest for you. Are you able to tell the person what it honestly, what's it like to be with you?
See, when you added the word on, because first you said it was like a job interview, and then all right, I can tell you what you need to hear. But if we're being honest,
If we're being honest, yeah.
current day me. Okay, this is a really great question, but a really hard question for me to answer because I don't know how I show up in relationships nowadays. But I actually kind of do.
Mm.
Okay, so I show up as very independent. I love my alone time. And being my partner, you too can hopefully love your alone time as much as I do. Being my partner means that you understand that I have to pour into myself. And I have to take the time to be able to pour into myself. And I need for you to be able to pour into yourself as well, so that we can just continuously pour into each other as opposed to being like just depleted and pouring from an empty cup. Um, I think that I'm very entertaining, very spontaneous, very fun, but I also don't always show up as this like lively lovatia, like in real life. Like, I mean, not in real life, but like in a relationship. Like, I feel like I can be quirky and fun and like silly and all of that stuff, but I also can be very serious and very peaceful, very calm, like very meditative, very self-reflective. And I think that that's a great thing about me. But emphasis on I need space for this to go well. Like,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. And I'm in therapy, and so if my potential partner is not in therapy, I'm gonna need or at least if you have been in therapy for a long amount of time, because I hate those motherfuckers that be like, I was in therapy for 30 days and I just learned. I'm
Yeah. Grow up.
like,
Grow up. That's not how that works.
exactly.
That's not how that works at all. That's
That's
good though.
yeah. How would you explain yourself and how you show up in a relationship?
Unfortunately, I mean, can I say, and you can tell me, I feel like friendships and actual like sexual romantical relationships are the same thing.
I feel like they should be, but I feel like for whatever reason in my head, I've only had one relationship, but my heterosexual relationship, there was a shift. Like as soon as we went from boyfriend and girlfriend to friends, it was a shift. Now, granted, we had a fucked up backstory, but even in a healthy situation, I feel like I would still feel a difference. But I feel like in reality, it should feel the same. It definitely should.
I don't know. But I mean, how I show up in intimate relationships, I'm a very an elusive person, and I definitely am the type of person where I isolate a lot, and I um what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word, but yeah, I just seclude myself a lot. So I think it's kind of hard to like me, at least at first. I know the people I've met and they get intimate with me, and this doesn't mean like sex or anything, just intimate with me. They don't like me like that. They're like, I can't. Like there's something about me that's just it's just something off. And I think it's just because I spent most of my time, I'm thinking of this word and it's a perfect word to explain how I am. Not it's elusive, but it's when you separate yourself. Can't think of the fucking word.
Not aloof.
But yeah, it's gonna drive me crazy, whatever. But I spend a lot of time with myself, um, a lot. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not a people person. I do not like people like that. I actually had to train myself to start being more like a people person and to actually develop emotional intelligence because I really can be cynical, and I'm not sociopathic by any means. I mean, I wish, but I I have a lot of feelings and all of these things, but I don't, like I said, I have this very hard exterior because I'm just trying to protect myself. So it's actually really difficult to like me in an intimate manner. And it's more easier for me and more palatable for individuals just to friend me and just to be my friend. And then once when they be my friend and they actually spend time with me, they actually really like me. They really, really like me, and the way I show up with dedication,
Yes.
and I show up in a way where I listen.
Yes.
'Cause a lot of the time people are so busy being performative and and they're so egotistical, and granted I'm egotistical as well, but it's just this so egotistical and performative that they're not even getting heard. You know what I'm saying? Um and I show up very critically. That's the best way I can put it. I show up very critically, and I show up very like intentional.
Okay.
So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
It does, because I feel like the intentions behind it, people are so used to people just doing things, doing it for the plot, doing it for whatever, for the story, like whatever, and then like reaping the consequences later. So I think that it is very intimidating when somebody knows that, one, you care very much so about your space. So for you to let someone into your space to be intimate with them in any way, um, that's big. And at first, I think that it might maybe even boost their ego, like, okay, Kiana's letting me in. But then it's like, oh wait, Kiana let me in. Like, oh, like now, oh, this is like, you know what I'm saying? Like then the panic comes because of the intention, but there's nothing wrong with being intentional. It's the same way that when I was younger, I used to literally like, I would personally catch feelings really fast and I would be extra vulnerable really fast. That too would drive them away. So it's like you can't win until you just meet your person. And I just learned that in a situation I was in before. It was literally lasted 5 days. And all he did was criticize me loving my alone time and how that wasn't gonna work for whatever we were trying to do. Believe me, like I said, 5 days. But like I learned in that I can and will meet somebody that loves their alone time, if not more than I do. I want this person to love their alone time so much that I'm like fiending. That I'm like, wait, I was gonna be the one that wanted all the alone time, but I want to be with you. Like, like I want my dismissive avoidance to like heal and maybe morph into something more secure. Like that's what I want. Which is why in that situation I did learn that I was dismissive avoidant. Like and that's helping me now decipher what I really need in a relationship to feel safe and comfortable. But I think it's the person. So same with you. If you can meet somebody or when you meet that person who self-isolates just as much as you do, and maybe who has even been through similar things that you have, but has like a similar healing journey to where it's not going to block off the connection, or you both can work on that blockage together because you both are familiar with it and you both are just as scared of it, but you can both be that foundation for it. I think that that's a match made in heaven. And I think that that exists. It's just people like us, because we've done the virtual dating and stuff like that, I don't know if they're on the apps and on the websites. Like, I'd like to think that because I'm there, because you're there, that maybe they're there too. Like there's that one like diamond. But I think that that's the type of connection that you are just like in a coffee shop one day, you are minding your business, not thinking about anybody, and then you meet this like-minded person somehow out of nowhere by accident, and then it just happens. Like there's no.
I mean, you could meet the person by accident on the app.
Very true. But I feel like it's so intentional. Like we know what we're on there for. And when it comes to the friendship thing, it's so funny because the way that I matched with that guy that I was just telling you about, the 5-day guy, was we were debating about this prompt that he had. And he was like, I don't feel like we should start off as friends. I feel like people should go in with their intention. And then like if I want you to be my girlfriend, that's what you're gonna be. Like it's not gonna be no friendship. I don't take my homegirls out on dates. And my thing was, I feel like
He's love bombing you.
Are you psychic? Because he literally told me he loved me on the first day.
He's love bombing you. Like, because I was about to ask, was that the same guy that told you that it's not okay that you like to isolate yourself? Was that the same person? Yeah, he's just being manipulative.
Yeah.
He was being abuser, but it's we gotta let it rock.
And that was on his profile. Like I should have known from jump. If I have to debate with you in the beginning of me getting to know you, like this is a red flag. But it was like a prompt in his profile. He's like, disagree with me and like let me know or whatever. So and after I told him how I felt about it, and I feel like your guard is a little bit more down when you're a friend, especially with cis hetero men. Like I don't know what it is. When I'm friends with them, it's great. I like don't even mind men. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes. But when I'm fucking dating them or like observing them as a lover, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because I just feel like the lens is just different. Like you get so much more grace and compassion with me as a friend. And I'm working on this because, like I said, if life was ideal and things were the way you said to where we should treat our friends like our lovers, then nothing should shift if that person turned into a lover. But right now, I'm still doing the work to make sure that that shift doesn't happen. Like
because I don't know what is it's not the big deal. I mean, the only thing different is ain't nobody fucking, but I've cried over friends. I was deeply in love. All of my friends are attractive. I usually am actually attracted to every single friend that I've had. I've been like physically or sexually attracted to them.
Yeah.
But obviously we just no. Not go there. But yeah, and it's so much time and investment goes into those bonds. So I'm like, there's really no difference other than we're just making a choice not to have sex. Absolutely. And that's just what it is. But
and I also and I also believe in non-platonic friendships as well, whatever that is, but not boyfriend and girlfriend. I love us to normalize, affectionate platonic relationships, friendships, and non-platonic friendships. Not friends with benefits though, because I feel like when those words are put on it, the benefits always override the friendship. So if it's
and then like what benefit are you really getting?
Nothing, because that emotional connection isn't there. Because it's just
anyone could fuck. You could have got you a damn fucking sex worker for this if that was the case.
Yeah. And that's the hard part, because for me, I'm demisexual. So I need to have a connection to even be able to get off and feel comfortable in the slightest. And I learned that very late into my sexual journey. So
that's what demisexual means? Like you have to have emotional connection?
Exactly. It's like sapiosexual, but just for your emotions. You have to have a deep emotional connection with somebody to feel physically turned on.
So Marshawn is a demisexual. Never mind. So now I gotta stimulate that nigga mind and shit? Fuck. All right.
fully identifies as being demisexual?
No, I just listen to him. That's my man. That's my boyfriend. I listen to that
boo.
man.
You know your boo. I love
I
it.
know him.
I love it. Back to I do have a question for you. That I'd like to conclude the episode with.
Yeah.
And that question is, what's one word of advice you'd give to younger you when it comes to your relationship with sex and intimacy? Or sex or intimacy, either one.
Really, you don't have to be performative. And your pleasure and your desire is the only thing that's important. It's not about a cis hetero man or even a cis queer woman. Like, it does not, your pleasure, your desire, and your intentions is the only thing that essentially matters and that you have to constantly work on, because if you don't have that commitment and that rule for yourself, it's not going to be applied to any partnerships or anything that you're trying to do in dating. So I would tell my younger self that, like, what, you're on the right path. Your desire and your pleasure is important, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I see little Kiana
Yes.
smiling in the inside.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay.
Yay, thank you so much. So we are going to conclude this episode. I just wanted to ask if you had any more thoughts that you wanted to make sure that the audience knew when it comes to Black voices being censored. Just any other things that you need to.
Yes. If you are in the sex space and you are a person, if you're a Black person, here in the States, it's going to get worse. So if anything, I would tell people to make sure you have multiple ways you can communicate, not just on the internet. Um, Find, utilize technology, like privacy technology, like, was it two-step verifications or shit like that, authorizations, there you go, and using cryptic messaging and stuff like that. Because yeah, you're gonna get censored even more. And but just because you're getting censored doesn't mean stop talking though. Like, that's why I was like, look for multiple ways to communicate, like make podcast appearances, start a collective, uh just get on, join like a Discord, Slack, places that are still not that, they're regulated, but they're not heavily censored and regulated. Just because you're getting censored doesn't mean that you have to stop talking. You can continue to talk. And yeah, just buckle up, essentially.
Yes. Yes. Oh, just because you're being censored doesn't mean you have to stop talking. Put that on a t-shirt and then put
I
Souley
know, right?
back.
Seriously.
Of Souley Gazing. Tell the people where they can find you, how they can support you, and anything else that you'd like us to know about that amazing all that Souley Gazing is.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Again, thank you for having me on the show. This was like the best episode ever. This was amazing. We went through so much right now. This was like a therapy session, and it was everything. Everybody, you can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, Souley Gazing, hold on, SOULEYGAZING, Souley Gazing. And yeah, you can find us there, follow us. Um, and then yeah, I want to do another episode because for next year, because we are doing a crowdfunding campaign. And I would love everyone's support. I mean, obviously, if you can't do it, don't do it. It's fine. But that's definitely where I would love the support, is when we launch our crowdfunding campaign next year and stuff like that. So yeah.
Absolutely. All of this information will be in the description so everybody can follow you and support you in that way. And then, yeah, I know that you're already about to be one of the favorite guests of the Love It to You Experience podcast. You know how certain podcasts have those like repeat guests that they're like, okay, we brought back your old Steve. So I know that we will definitely have you back on this show. And I'm super excited. And I think I have a date in mind as to when you said that you were going to start your crowdfunding. So we'll do it close to that. So I'm excited. Thank you, Kiana,
Perfect.
for being
Thank you.
yourself. I know that you said that vulnerability is something that you've been working through, but I think that you showed up so beautifully, wonderfully, and vulnerably on here. And I really just appreciate you for sharing yourself and sharing your story and sharing Souley gazing with us all. So I really
Thank
love and
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. And thank y'all for listening or watching. Don't forget we're on YouTube. Check us out and check out everything that Kiana is doing. Like, once again, all the links will be in the description. Love y'all. Don't forget to give yourself a hug and be kind to yourself and be kind to animals. Bye.
Bye.